I have found that as time goes by, I inevitably leave certain aspects of my life unguarded or unchecked. And these aspects may seem trivial at first, but over time they grow into mountains and sometimes spin out of control. These things can be like weight gain, smoking, drinking, lack of exercise, quality of foods, apathy for education, watching too much TV, playing too many video games, and the list can go on and on and on and on and on. Maybe you've noticed the same thing. Maybe you're in the same position I am. So what are we supposed to do? I find that it's a good thing to do some introspection or self-analysis quite often. Now, we need to assess our situations and find out exactly where we are. If we don't know where we are with our finances or weight or whatever you have, then these unknown variables will eventually bite us on the rear if they do not cause our demise altogether. Now, I don't know what your goals are. I don't know what your dreams are. But I do know that a person can take somewhat seemingly intangible dreams and turn them into goals. And then eventually, those dreams, which turned into goals, can turn into a reality. It takes strategies like building a roadmap. It takes evidence procedures to see exactly where you are on this roadmap. It takes discipline, which is birthed by desire or even fear, to move us forward. Without sincere deep down desire or a sincere fear of failure, we'll eventually stagnate, peter out, and we may even forget that we had a goal in the first place. Keeping these goals in the front of our eyes is something to do as well. But the focus of this podcast is not to let the little things turn into big things. Even if we are goal-oriented, focused people, we can lose sight of certain aspects of our lives and actually sabotage our dreams. What good is earning millions of dollars with the intention of caring for orphans when we weigh 450 pounds? How can we have the vitality to effectively do what it takes if we're obese? How can we enjoy our life? What good is being physically fit if our family hates us because we're always at the gym? What good is being wealthy if our family hates us because we're always at work? What good is telling our family we love them if we can't even provide for them because we're fat, lazy, and broke? I'm aiming for balance here. It's the small foxes that spoil the vine. In this voyage we call life, we aim for the narrow path. If we can be so bold to have the audacity to think that we're even capable as mere mortals of even heading remotely in that direction, the narrow path eludes most. And for even more, they don't even desire to so much as look at the narrow path if they've been given the grace and mercy to even glance in that direction. And speaking of goals, I believe the requirements of the narrow path pretty much throws selfish goal setting out the window. I mean, it all comes down to the fact that God is in control of everything. Trying to overthrow his plans with our selfish, petty goals is a waste of time and energy. But we can take thought for the day. Isn't that right? We don't have to so much think about tomorrow, but we can hoe the garden today. We can plant seeds today that will reap success tomorrow. If God decides to give us favorable crop yields, then that's up to him. God provides the seed for the sower. We're the sower. We sow the word that he's given us for our lives. In fighting our God-given call with our selfish carnal dreams is futile and somewhat blasphemous. Even if we do end up wealthy, we're reminded, what good is all this wealth if we lose our soul? The preacher in Ecclesiastes pretty much sums it up when he says to simply enjoy the fruit of your labor in the works of your hands. Ecclesiastes 3:12 and 13. I know that there's no good in them, but for a man to rejoice and to do good in his life, and also that every man should eat and drink and enjoy the good of all his labor. It's the gift of God. Some people take life too seriously. I'm guilty. I've done it. I put too much value in what I found later to be fruitless things. I've wasted countless minutes, hours, months, years, days, whatever, on things that aren't really important at all. My compass was broken at times, or maybe I was simply not watching the compass, or maybe I didn't even know my ship was even moving, or maybe I didn't perceive that there was wind, and I could put up the sails and finally get out of this desperate, miserable situation. I needed to feel the wind. And as we attempt to align our compass with the narrow path, if we may be so bold, we also need to consider that life is kind of like a garden. Are we planting the seeds that God has given us, or are we using our own selfish, carnal seeds? Are we hoeing the worldly weeds out of our garden? Do we really rely on God's providence for the rain and the sun? Do we trust that He will take care of our seed and turn it into a tree? Or is our faith lacking so much that we don't even trust God? Are we focusing too much on the trivial garnishes and not enough on the substantive corn? Are we keeping the fiendish foxes and rabid rabbits out of our garden? Are we keeping the snakes out? Adam? Are we sleeping when we should be harvesting? Do we stay in bed for the reason of the cold? Are we afraid to work because of the fictitious line in the streets? There are many parts to a garden, and the idea is to take care of the whole concert of the parts that make up the sum of the whole. We want our whole boat to get to the destination. We should strive to keep the whole garden healthy. This takes vision, periodic inspection, maintenance, determination, prioritization. The list could go on. A garden is hard work. Think about it. Friends, I urge you to do some self-analysis, some introspection. Look at your garden. It may need some tending. You may have some weeds. Till we meet again, dig deeper. Go higher.